Hi folks, hope you're doing really well. Welcome back to another little video. Man, you could travel the world for years and not find a road as stunning as this little local road going up to the mighty Studley Pike. Finally, excuse the montage at the beginning of the video, finally we're going to take a closer look at the new SPA Cycles Detour Steel Tourer. And if you're thinking about getting this bike or something from SPA Cycles, don't want to watch a kind of 20+ minute video. In summary, just go and get one. They're absolutely brilliant. But in this little video I'm going to go through some of the build choices. There'll be a bit of waffle, just to forewarn you, and I think I know a little spot a mile or two ahead where I can park up and show you the bike proper. Just passing the Shepherd's Rest. That's doing a roaring trade today, and I don't blame anybody for coming out up into the hills on a stunning day like today. Wowzers! So even though I've been bicycle touring for years and years and years, I've always just used hardtail mountain bikes, or I've just adapted my road bike to take front and back panniers. But I got towards the end of last year and thought, I'm really going to bite the bullet now and give myself an early 50th birthday present and actually buy a dedicated touring bike. And I've always sort of had that that romantic attachment to steel frame bikes. They do ride really well, but I just love that concept of the kind of the old school triple chainring flat bar steel touring bike. And obviously started looking around at the usual suspects, you know, the Thorns and the Surleys and the Fujis, and even sort of having a look at second-hand old doors like Galaxies and all that sort of stuff. And then I can't remember quite how I came across SPA or Spa Cycles in Harrogate, but I was really interested to see like a shop in my native Yorkshire and what looked like really great value frames and bikes, and actually a little bit of flexibility in terms of making your own build choices. So I got really interested in that as an option, popped across to Harrogate to have a look at frames, and the rest is history. I'm now riding my very own SPA Cycles Detour steel touring bike, and it's an absolute beauty. So yeah, let's just find a quiet spot and I'll show you the bike properly and all the components, all the sort of build choices that I made, and overall what I think of it. You can probably tell by earlier comments or some of the other videos that I've made so far with the new bike. I'm a big fan, but in this video I'll obviously get into why I think the bike and the build choices that I've made are just perfect for the kind of riding that I like to do from time to time. Well, it's been so busy today, I've not been able to find anywhere quiet enough really to just stop and show you the bike until now. I'm almost home actually, just doing the final kind of couple of miles up the towpath. We'll get to Summit and then drop down towards Littleborough. But yeah, let me show you this this new touring bicycle. So this is my SPA Cycles Spa Cycles Detour steel frame touring bike. It's a 57cm frame. It's Cromley Reynolds 725 steel, a nice kind of thin tubing I think, and this lovely curved steel fork at the front, which just cancels out lots of buzz you get from the road, and it's just an absolutely lovely ride actually on the frame. I've got and again, you know, I might have already mentioned this in the video, just harking back to that kind of classic romantic round the world touring bike ideal that I suppose from my generation involves a triple chainring on the front. So it's a 44 34 24 I believe, put it on the screen if that's not the case. And then I've got a 1236 cassette on the back. So, you know, big chainring is good enough for kind of top speeds that I'm ever going to do on this bike, but I've also got like really nice kind of middle chainring set of options, and a great like spinny gear as well for the really steep hills when the bike's fully loaded. As I've probably mentioned, I've gone for flat bars, so these are 63 or 630mm flat bars with kind of ergonomic grips and little bar ends. I'm pretty happy with these are just stock SPA components. I might go for some Eragons at a later date, but I'm actually finding these pretty comfortable at the moment. I went with, as I probably already mentioned, so because I've gone with a flat bar option, it's allowed me to have a bigger, roomier frame than I would have had if I'd have gone with drop bars. But that being said, I have quite a short torso, so you will have seen on some of my other review videos, I typically always swap the stem out on bikes and I put a shorter stem. So this is actually a 60mm stem on the front, and it just shortens the reach. So for me, like quite long-legged, short torso, it works absolutely perfectly. In terms of the wheels, so I've got XL wheel rims, 700C, and it's 36 spokes on the back and 32 spokes on the front. So, you know, absolutely bomb-proof wheels that are more than capable of carrying the weight that I'm ever going to put on this bike in terms of, you know, front and back panniers, etc. Shimano saw a group set. It's a 9-speed, so you've got sort of 3x9 setup. Pretty basic, but again, that's really what I'm after, just like simple but kind of components that work in the places where I need them to. And then some kind of more high-end components. I'll talk about some of the higher-end components in a second. I have put flat pedals on for now, and the only issue I've got with these, they're great, and I did want to have a bike that I could just, you know, stop, jump off, and then go and walk up a hill or walk around a castle or something. I don't know. That's maybe not the best example, but flat pedals were exactly what I had in mind. The only issue I've got though is, like, aesthetically, I just don't know, I'm not sure about them in terms of, do they fit the sort of aesthetics of the touring bicycle that I've got. That sounds really vain, but I don't know, I might swap those out at a later date. I knew I was always going to get a kind of a classic saddle on the bike, so I've got a Brooks B17 with a cutout, and I absolutely love this saddle, not just because it looks great, but I'm finding as I keep riding the bike, it's getting more and more comfortable, and I'm not there yet, so multi-day rides are still, you know, I still feel it in the derriere, but I can probably ride this now for 3.5, 4 hours before I actually start to notice any little discomfort on the saddle. And it's really starting to, I think it's starting to break in a little bit. I can just feel tiny profile where my sit bones are obviously starting to kind of soften up the leather a little bit. So I think it looks great as well. It's just such a nice piece of history to have on the bike in terms of that Brooks B17. So I've probably already been waffling about classic, romantic, you know, old school, round the world setup and components and all that jazz. But that being said, I kind of wanted a little bit of modern tech on the bike as well. And I've been really interested for a long time in like Dynamo and Dynamo lighting and charging setups. And again, because this was a kind of purchase around that concept of try not to make any compromises, really go for what your heart's desire is in terms of a touring bike. I really asked, and I talked quite a lot with the guys at SPA about the Dynamo options and what kind of choices I had and how I could basically get a Dynamo lighting and charging setup on the bike. So initially we were looking at the Kasai and Bush & Miller components, but I actually went a little bit higher end. So I've got it's a Shimano Detour hub on the back, and I've got a Sun 28 Dynamo down at the front, and a Sun Edelux 2 lighting front and back setup. These are absolutely brilliant, and I found the beam is really wide, really consistent for kind of nighttime unlit riding, and it's also kicking out, I found, a reasonable amount of light at like 4.5, 5 miles per hour. So you do hear a lot about dynamos just kind of cutting out if you go under certain speeds, but I found the speeds are really low before the light starts to fade on this one, and if I stop, the rear light stays on for donkey's years, and the front you get a reasonable amount of time before that starts to fade as well. So I'm absolutely, thrilled to bits with the lighting setup. The other thing that they've done for me is put a connector in here, so I've got an option when the light is off to run up into a velo charger. So we've got some on the go USB charging, so if I need to trickle charge my phone or GoPro battery or anything like that, it's just so cool to have that option now on the bicycle. And one of the things I really wanted, one of the requirements that I discussed with the guys in the shop was not to have a dynamo that was always on. I did want the option to kind of turn it off or turn it on. This actually has 3 settings, so at the moment it's just off because I've been trickle charging my phone on the ride a little bit today. I've got another option which is on the sensor, so in low light the dynamo will come on, and then I've got just like the always on option as well. So it's a fantastic setup with just everything I wanted in terms of dynamo, lighting and charging. In terms of brakes, so the Detour, the D in Detour is disc, so it is a disc brake bike. It's not hydraulic discs, so they're just cable actuated TRP disc brakes. They do the job pretty well. They are, I've got more powerful brakes on other bikes, let's say. That being said, I've not found the brakes wanting in any way, and I've obviously been riding this around the Pennine Hills where I am at the moment, Trough of Bowland, Forest of Bowland, and I have been riding the bike with a little bit of weight on, not fully loaded yet, so I'm kind of reserving final judgment on the cable disc brakes until I've been out with it fully loaded up and bombed down some kind of steep hills and just seen how confident I feel with the brakes that I've got. One of the things I did want though was just simple, so I didn't want to go straight off the bat with any kind of hydraulic brakes or anything like that. I was actually toying with the idea of just old school rim brakes, but I thought, well, just off the shelf the standard sort of setup is this disc brake option, and I thought, well, I'll give it a go. And I guess I'm not super impressed with the braking, but by the same token I've not had any kind of concerns riding the bike yet. So one of the things I have on my Tri-Ban road bike is like a hydraulic caliper. So on my Tri-Ban I still have cable actuated disc brakes, but it's kind of a hybrid hydraulic system, and that they're really quite powerful. They're not up to like mountain bike hydraulic brake standards, but they're pretty good. So one of the things I might do, after I've been out fully loaded for the first couple of times, if I'm not feeling super confident with the brakes, is swap them out for hydraulic, those little sealed hydraulic calipers. It's probably a couple of £100 to do that upgrade, but if I need to do it, that's probably something I'll look at in the future. I'm trying to think what I've forgotten to mention about the bike. The only thing I can think of is the rack. So I've got a tubeless rear rack that's new with the bicycle, and I've just used an old Roswheel lowrider front rack on the front. not exactly the right colour, but I don't really mind, and although I'm a bit bummed out by the aesthetics of the pedals, I kind of don't mind the different colour front rack. The bike's slightly silverised, so whilst it's a black frame, I've got, you know, quite a lot of silver, so it does shine a little bit, and I really like that. It's just a nice little touch that was actually recommended by the bike shop, and I just went, yeah, go on then. And I just think it looks great. One of the on the first video that I made with the new bike, one of the great friends of the channel commented that it was a bit like a Cadillac, and I really think that's a nice description of it. Not only how it sort of, you know, in terms of the colour and how it looks, just the size of the thing, but that sort of super comfortable ride quality, you know, soaking up the road. It does ring true actually, in terms of it being a bit of a Cadillac in terms of the bikes that I've got. So I think that's everything, folks. SKS Blumenthal mudguards, I forgot to mention, and I don't need to mention the little frame bags and stuff. I'm actually using a Brighton S810 today that Brighton sent me. Thank you very much, Brighton. And I'm really getting on with this. I've been trying it out on sort of my commutes and riding out today, and I might give that a mention in a future video, because it's a pretty cool piece of kit, and a nice contrast to the Wahoo that I've been using for years and years. But yeah, I think that's the, where is it? There. I think that's the build choices, the components that I've gone with on this Specification Detour steel touring bicycle. I absolutely love the thing. I'm sure you've been able to pick that up from the video, and you know, this bike and I are getting on famously, and in a couple of months I'm going to be taking it to Europe for the first time. I just can't bloody wait to go on that ride, and on all the other rides, hopefully, fingers crossed, you know, touch wood, if I stay fit and healthy enough, that this thing is going to take me on in the UK and maybe elsewhere as well. So yeah, if you've got any other questions about the bike, please feel free to drop me a comment. I'll do my very best to provide you with a decent answer. If you are thinking about SPA cycles and these kind of bikes, I can't recommend them enough. So I'm just getting funny looks by cyclists going past. You know, give them a ring. They're great on the phone. Pop over to Harrogate into the shop, which has just been redone actually a couple of months ago, so they've got a bit more space, probably a bit more stuff to show you. I found they were just super helpful. Pretty happy to tell you when they think you're wrong about stuff, which I actually think is refreshing. Really happy for you to go and try out a couple of different frame sizes, which is exactly what I did to get the ball rolling. I think it was like 12 or 13 emails back and forward on like build choices and a couple of phone calls, and then obviously pulled the trigger on the purchase. So yeah, if you're sitting on the fence and you're after a decent touring bike and thinking about spar cycles, I just can't recommend them enough, frankly. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Just remain stay safe out there, take care of yourselves, and happy cycling. I'll see you out on the roads very soon for the next ride. Bye!